Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen, and in this video I am going to be reviewing the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Shaffer and Anne Barrows. So this book takes place in the 1940s and it begins right after the end of World War II. This is a novel told in letters, and you are pretty much following the lives of a couple of people, but mainly of the main character, Juliet. Juliet is a young 30-somethings woman. She is a writer who found quite a lot of success during the war because she was writing this really funny and witty newspaper column. So now that the war is over, Juliet is really trying to expand her career and she wants to write her own book, and she doesn't really know what she's going to write about. She's sort of searching for inspiration, and randomly she gets sent this letter by a man named Dossie who lives in Guernsey. Guernsey is one of the Channel Islands, and he is telling her in this letter that he came across one of her old books and that he really loves the writer Charles Lamb, and that he would really appreciate it if she can point him in the direction of some more work by this author. He can't find any more Charles Lamb books on Guernsey because Guernsey had been occupied by the Germans during the war, and this left the island in a very devastated form. So because of this, Juliet starts this friendship and this relationship with not only Dossie but a bunch of other people on the island, because Dossie lets her know that they are all part of the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which is a book club that started during the war years. Through this, you find out more about the lives and heartbreaks of these people, what they went through during the Nazi occupation, and how life is really about the friendships that you make and the good things that you do, and that even though life can throw you so many horrific things and you can go through so many ups and downs and you can go through so many battles, at the end of the day, love always wins. So I didn't know anything about this book until about a month ago, or maybe even two now, when I first saw the film trailer for the film adaptation of this novel. And when I saw that trailer, I immediately knew that this was a story that I needed to read. The film stars Lily James, and I really like Lily James. I think that she is a great actress and she has this charisma, and after reading the book, I think that she will be a perfect Juliet. So now let's talk about the positives of this book, which, let me tell you, there are plenty. This is, I believe, my third 5-star read of this year, or fourth maybe, and honestly I enjoyed every single part of this book. This has become one of my favorite books of all time, and I know that I will read it again and again and again over the years because it is just brilliant and wonderful, and it's so good. So one of the main things that made me love this book is the fact that it's all about books. It's about how books bring people together. It's about how books are our salvation at points in our lives, how books and stories are able to really take us out of the life that we are living in and transport us into a different place and into a different mindset. All of the members of the Potato Peel Pie Society, they go through so many struggles, but they hold on to these books that they are reading. They are holding on to these stories for dear life, basically, because it is the only form of escape for them during the Nazi occupation. And this book really is a love letter to literature and to writing and to writers and to books, and I just absolutely love that as a big reader myself. This book is also incredible at balancing sadness and joy. I am not somebody that really actively looks for books and films and media that is based on the Nazi occupation. I become really affected by that. I remember I saw, when I was a lot younger than I was supposed to, I saw this HBO documentary about the Nazis and the concentration camps, and it was incredibly graphic. And I was, like I said, younger than I was supposed to, and that really impacted me, just seeing all of those images. So I don't look forward to reading a World War II novel because I know that I'm going to be very affected by it. I know that it's going to be really incredibly sad, and I'm just not someone that really looks for that. However, this book has a perfect balance between sadness and joy. You can be reading a letter in this book that it's about a specific thing that happened either in a concentration camp or with Nazis, and you can literally be with tears in your eyes. And then in the next letter, you can be with tears in your eyes again, not because of sadness, but actually because of joy and because of laughter, and because you're reading something that is so funny that you can't help but have an emotional reaction to it. And I love that because that balance keeps you going. This book is depressing at times and sad at times, but it picks you right up. It never lets you be low for long. The character of Juliet is also fantastic. I think that she has become one of my absolute favorite main characters in a book ever. She is hilarious. She's so funny. Oh my goodness. Juliet is the girl that we all want to be because she's charming, she's witty, she's intelligent, and reading about her was just so much fun. You not only read about her writing and her work, but you also read about her romance. She has a couple of suitors throughout the book, and she's just such an independent woman, and she is an incredible main character to read about. Another wonderful thing about this book is the supporting characters. As funny and as wonderful as Juliet is, all of the supporting characters in the novel are also as funny and as wonderful. They all are so engaging, and you never get to a point where you're like, oh man, I wish we had another Juliet letter, or I wish we had another letter from this character and I wasn't reading about this character, because all of the supporting characters are so wonderful and they feel so complex, even though you get just little hints of who they are and who they go through, because you don't have as many letters from them as, for example, you would of Juliet, who is a main character in this novel. I also found myself highlighting so many parts of this book because the writing is so incredible. The writing is just absolutely lovely. Marianne Shaffer, who was the woman who actually wrote this, and then her niece, I believe, Annie Barrows, was the one who edited it. She was just an incredible woman, and if she told stories and if she spoke the way that she writes in this book, Marianne Shaffer, then oh my goodness, I wish I would have been able to know her, because she just has the perfect mixture of all these incredible qualities, and it really comes across in her writing. Her writing is electric, it's positive, it's beautiful, it's simple, but at the same time filled with feeling and with meaning, and I just adored it. The author of this novel does something that's really interesting. She shows the darkness of the Nazi occupation in a way that is different than other people. She doesn't write about people getting shot every 2 seconds, and she doesn't write about torture necessarily. She writes about these small moments of prejudice, of people losing their freedom, of people being treated unfairly, that really hit you, because in a way, compared to what other writers have written about this time period, about the Nazis, about the situation that happened in Europe during this time, the scenes that the writer chooses to depict in this novel are small, day to day. However, they still have the exact same impact. They hit you so hard. There were so many moments throughout this book that I just was so incredibly moved, and I couldn't help but really cry, and I just thought that that was really brilliant. So the writer of this novel can be extremely lyrical, extremely funny, extremely heartbreaking, and I'm going to read you a couple of quotes from the book to sort of highlight that. So the first one is about books, because Juliet, the main character, used to be a bookseller and now she's a writer, so she writes a lot about books and her love of books, and how she would be incredibly happy with a house full of books and nothing else. And I love this quote. This one's really early on in the book. It says, "I wonder how the book got to Guernsey. Perhaps there is some secret sort of homing instinct in books that brings them to their perfect readers. How delightful if that were true. So in that quote, she's talking about how she doesn't really know how her book got to Guernsey and got to this man named Darcy. And this is just wonderful because their lives just intertwined from then on, and it really feels like destiny that Darcy was able to get this book from Juliet, who lives so far away and who has a completely different life than he does. Now, this next quote is from one of the funniest letters in the whole book. Juliet wants to start a correspondence with all the other members of the Potato Peel Pie Society, and she wants to write a book about them. But one of the members is a little bit skeptical of this, and she wants some references about Juliet. And Juliet very adorably sends her two references, one from a person that loves her and that thinks she's great, and another from a person that hates her and thinks she's horrible. And this quote comes from that letter. So this is a quote, and I honestly laughed out loud when I read this. I read one of her columns, Juliet columns, and cancelled my subscription. She attacked the good taste of our dear, though dead Queen Victoria. Doubtless, you know of the huge memorial Victoria had built for her beloved consort, Prince Albert. It is a jewel in the crown of Kensington Gardens, a monument to the Queen's refined taste as well as to the departed. Juliet applauded the Ministry of Food for having ordered peas to be planted in the grounds surrounding that memorial, writing that no better scarecrow than Prince Albert existed in all of England. I thought that was so funny, and when you read that letter, I dare you to not laugh out loud because it is hilarious. So now this other quote is from one of the members of the society, and he is talking about his favorite writer, and he says, "Do you know what sentence of his I admired the most? It is a bright day is done, and we are for the dark. I wish I'd known those words on the day I watched those German troops land, plane load after plane load of them, and one of the ships down in the harbor. All I could think of was, damn them, over and over. If I could have thought the words, the bright day is done, and we are for the dark, I'd have been consoled somehow, and ready to go out and contend with circumstances, instead of my heart sinking to my shoes." So just incredible writing in here, and I would recommend this book to everybody. I would want to give this book to everyone that I know, and I think I might just have to do that. It is such a beautiful book, one of my favorites of all time. I am so glad that I read it. I cannot wait to see the film adaptation. I know it will be wonderful. I cannot wait to see these characters brought to life, and I have taken a look at the cast list, and I am very, very satisfied with it. I think that the actors are going to do a fantastic job. So if you are interested in this book, please go ahead and pick it up right now. I promise you, you will not regret it. It's really short, it's incredible from page 1 all the way to the end, and it's just a beautiful book overall. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!